Coming up next, our App of the Week, in which we show you how to use the app and review its accessibility. You can submit your recording for this segment. Email it to us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com.
And now we turn to our App of the Week, and Warren demonstrates WebApp, which I think is a really interesting concept. Take it away, Warren.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast, and for episode App of the Week, I'll be demonstrating an app called WebApp. In other words, I'm demonstrating an app that you could use in transforming a web page into an app. So if you're having trouble with a web page, for example, and you would rather use an app for it, this may be what you're looking for. It's basically a PWA app, basically progressive web app, and it's easy to create apps. I will be demonstrating this using my S21 running Android 13 and TalkBack 13.5. I am on my home screen now and will now navigate my way to WebApp.
WebApp.
Here is WebApp, and I'll tap to activate.
WebApp. Button. Out of pager. Detected. Icon. Settings. Button.
We are landed on an icon that's called Settings, and that's found near the top right corner of the phone. Now, to the left top part, all that we got is the name of the app.
WebApp.
Now, below that button on the top right, that's Settings, we've got a couple buttons, or rather 3 buttons. The first buttons we got,
Create Group. Button.
Create Group. In other words, if you tap on this, you can create a folder where you could add apps of similar functions to it. To the right of that, we've got
Create App. Button.
Create an app. So for example, you got a website that you want to turn into an app. This is where you tap on to create such an app. Now below that, we have an icon that simply says More.
Detected. Icon. More. Button.
And we'll be talking about these buttons. First though, let's get started by the first one on the top right corner, and that will be the one that says Settings.
Detected. Icon. Settings. Button.
I'll go ahead and tap.
WebApp. Navigate up. Button.
Tapping on Settings, here's what we got.
Use AdBlock. Block unwanted content. Switch on in list.
Because if you have web pages, for example, there are ads and all of that, but this will block those for you. Below that,
External links in browser. Open external links in system browser. Switch off.
and that's all we have in the settings. Let's go back.
WebApp. Detected. Icon. Settings. Button. Out of list.
I already talked about the create group and create an app. The last one we want to talk about, that is the last button, has to do with what I'm going to show you next. Now, below all of this, starting from the top on the left, we got
My Apps.
My Apps. And below that would be apps that you have created. I haven't created one yet. Now, below that, we've got
Popular.
Popular. So these are apps that come with this app by default. And then that More button there that we saw earlier, you could use that in changing the name of this Popular heading or moving it up to My Apps area and More. Let's tap on that More so you see what I'm talking about.
Detected. Icon. More. Button. Pop-up window. Rename. In list.
We hear rename. So if I tap here, I will be renaming Popular to something else that I would rather name it to. Next.
Move up.
Move up. That is, if I want to trade it places with my apps and have that be the one that comes near the top instead of my apps, then I tap there to move it up. Next,
Move down.
I could move it down if it was near the top where the my apps is located. I could change it back to move it back down.
Remove.
Or I could remove that. If I remove it, then the heading or the text that says popular will be gone. I'm going to go back.
Detected. Icon. More.
Now below popular, we have apps that come by default. In other words, we have a bunch of apps here that are here on by default, and they are arranged in rows. We got 4 to each row. Here's what I'm talking about. Row 1, we got
Facebook. Row 1. YouTube. Column 2. Telegram. Column 3. Instagram. Column 4.
now the next row below that, starting from the left,
ChatGPT. Row 2. Twitter. Column 2. Gmail. Column 3. Discord. Column 4.
and now the last row, starting from the left,
Skype. Row 3. Column. Teams. Column 2. PayPal. Column 3.
and the last item,
WhatsApp. Column 4.
WhatsApp. That's all that you have. Now, I do want to mention here in passing that you can actually remove these things if you didn't want any of these. So in other words, if you want to remove WhatsApp, you want to remove Facebook, or any of these, all that needs to happen is to long press on it and go find remove. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This long press on Facebook, for example.
Facebook. Row 1. Column 1.
And I'm going to double tap and hold to long press.
Pop-up window. Settings. In list.
Tapping or long pressing on Facebook, we heard settings.
Clone.
I can clone it.
Add to home screen.
I could add it to the home screen.
Move to group.
I could move it to a group. For example, if I've created a group for things relating to Facebook, I could move it to that group.
Remove.
Or I could remove it. That's the last item. Let's go ahead though and look at what the settings entails. And the settings simply will give you the ability to rename it if you want to change its name from Facebook to something else that makes sense to you. You tap on the settings. Here's what I'm talking about.
Settings.
And I'll tap on settings.
Web app. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
Tapping on settings, here's what we got.
Facebook. Edit box. Name.
You can tap here to change the name to whatever you like.
https://m.facebook.com/ edit box URL.
And that's its URL.
Icon.
And then next, we got icon.
Custom icon. Button.
You could tap on custom the icon. These are visual stuff.
Button. Unlabeled. Detected. Icon. Facebook.
So it tells us this icon looks like Facebook.
Detected. Icon. Facebook. Button.
That one also says
Detected.
Facebook.
Icon. Facebook. Button.
But these are icons with different colors that represent Facebook. So this is something visual. If you're not into visual stuff, we don't need it. All you can do is rename it if you wanted to. I'm going to go back.
Web app. Facebook. Column 1.
Now let's go to the one that makes the most sense, and that would be the creating of an app. So we move back toward the top, just below the settings on the top right, and below that we find that create an app.
Create app. Button. Out of grid.
And I'll tap here.
URL. Edit box. Create app. English US QWERTY shown.
So here we're being asked for the URL of the web page. For this demonstration, I'll be utilizing the Blind Android Users website. So I'm going to type in the web address for our website.
H T T P S symbols show toolbar function /
And I'm going to change to letters.
Symbol keyboard page text. Show toolbar functions button.
And now I'm going to type blind Android users.
B L I N D A B N S D R O I D U S E R S period C O M.
All right, I just typed in blindandroidusers.com. I'll now move my finger up to the edit field and see if I got it.
https://blindandroidusers.com. Edit box. Editing. URL.
And below that, we've got two buttons. In the middle, so we got cancel, and to the right of that, we got create or something to that effect.
Cancel. Button.
There's the cancel, and to the right of that,
Create. Button.
create. I'll tap here to create.
Keyboard hidden. Web app. Create app. Button.
All right, so now if I move my finger near the top from the left below my apps
My apps.
and moving my finger down,
blindandroidusers.com. Column 1. In grid. 1 row. 4 columns.
I got blindandroidusers.com. Now remember, you can change the name. So for example, if I want to change its name to simply say Blind Android Users, then I will need to long press that and go change the name. I'll now tap to activate and see where it takes us.
Web app. We like cookies. We like cookies, but need your consent to share. Heading level 5.
And here's talking about cookies.
Accept. Button. Accept.
And you can accept,
cookie settings.
or
Button.
you can tap on cookie settings. I'm going to tap accept for
Accept.
the time being.
Button.
All right, so here we are.
Blind Android Users Podcast logo. Graphic.
And if I move my finger down,
Blind Android Users Podcast. Heading level 2.
and I'm just going to jump all the way toward the bottom where we got buttons like tabs and things like that. So toward the bottom, we got
Subscribe. Link.
subscribe,
Feedback. Link. Social media. Link. Podcast. Link. Articles. Link. In row. Videos. Link. Downloads. Link. Show notes. Link. Rumble videos. Link. In row. 4 items.
and you see we got all the different URLs that we have on our web page. So let's say I go to podcast, for example,
Podcast. Link. In row. 4 items.
and I tap.
Blind Android Users Podcast. Demystifying Android Accessibility. WebView. Out of row.
And now, putting my finger in the middle, I'll see all the episodes that we have. Starting from the latest,
Episode 141. History of the Samsung UI and Android 14 Beta 5.1.
and moving on,
Play. Button.
below that is a play,
August 19th, 2023.
and it tells you the date.
Middle dot. 1 hour 31 minutes.
And I'm just moving my finger or swiping to the right.
Middle dot. Listen later. Link.
Let's listen later,
View terms. Link.
view the terms.
Blind Android Users Podcast Episode 140. Android 14 Beta 5. And Smart Vision 3. Blind Android Users Podcast Episode 139. 2020. Blind Android Users Podcast Episode 138. Blind Android Users Podcast Episode 137. Conclusion
You
of
got
the
the
Play Store
drift.
exploration.
Now,
and the
let's
Nothing
say
to
I
Phone
want to tap on one
Play
of these,
Button. Out of list.
or just tap on play. If I tap on play below episode 141,
Acast Embed Player F5.
from the combined crew of Blind
And
Android
now
Users
I'm gonna
.com
tap on
and
pause because it
accessible
becomes a
Android.com,
pause.
It's time for your
Pause,
favorite
pause.
Android podcast. And
Seek back. Button.
there's the seek back
Seek forward. Button.
and
010. Button, 1 hour 31 minutes.
And I've played it for 10 seconds. That's a demonstration of the web app. I hope you like it.
Do you use this a lot?
Well, I just used it to try to see what it is like. And, frankly, like I indicated, if one is having a problem with a website, you're finding it hard to navigate a website, probably this app would be what you would need in simplifying the interface of the web page you're having problem with. And I kind of liked it, using it on our webpage, blindandroidusers.com, and as a practice, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah. I think I'll definitely be giving it a play. I haven't had a look yet, but one of the ones I'm going to check out.